Hey everyone, welcome to Two Stall Garage. This is Justin, and we have a 2005 Jeep Grand Cherokee with the 5.7 liter Hemi motor in it. And right in here, we've got the thermostat housing. And if you can see right here, there is a gasket, the blue gasket. And that is actually causing a problem because with this housing, the thermostat already has a gasket on it. So with that said, one too many gasket means leaky and antifreeze is being lost. So we're gonna go ahead and take the housing off today. We're gonna take the second gasket off. We'll make sure the mating surface is cleaned up. Actually, we won't have to do that because we have a brand new housing for it as well. So we're gonna take the old off, put the new on. Before we do that, we're gonna clamp up a couple hoses and make sure we can get in there. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get these connectors out of the way. There we go, and for the sake of clamping off some heater hoses, we're gonna take the cover off here. See if this comes off without. I think it actually will. Got to put the phone down to do this. Take the hose off, remove the housing, remove the gasket, make sure the surface is clean on the engine, and then we'll install the new. We've got the thermostat and we've got that blue gasket. Let's see if I can show you here, but we got to take that off. This thermostat does not need the gasket. And let's come along to the other side. Here's the old housing. We're gonna take that off and replace it with the new housing, that DL902-689, the Duralast. All right, so this thing's kind of a bear to get off, but it's finally coming loose, the old housing. There you go. We'll take our clamp off. And we are going to get that old gasket off, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Well, I'm trying to clean the mating surface down there, and there's just not a lot of room, plus this vehicle sits up a little higher. We're going to go ahead and take the cold air intake off. It's just a few bolts, so nothing wrong with doing that. There we go, now I got a little more room. See if I can give you a better view here. Okay, you guys can definitely see the housing. This is the gasket that was on here. It's nice to not have to use this because I got to clean up. You might not be able to see it, but even on the inner part where the thermostat mates to the housing on the engine, it is dirty. So we're going to try to clean up the rest of this gasket, and we're going to get the inside of that clean as well. All right, we got the housing all cleaned up. We got all that blue gasket off, and come right over here. We got our old housing, so we don't need to clean that off, thankfully. We're gonna take this off. We've got our old thermostat, we've got our old gasket, and we have our new housing. It's nice and clean and ready to go. This mates right up against the thermostat gasket. We've got our new Duralast thermostat. Here it is. You want to make sure that the little hole there, that's the air hole, make sure that's on the top side, not on the bottom side for obvious reasons. Everything looks good. And here's your gasket. So made right up. Go ahead and get that going. Tighten them both to 10, and I just kept rotating. Then I went 11 and a half, and then I finished out at 13. So any more than that, and it feels like you're gonna break something, and that would not be good. So just watch how you're tightening them up there. If you got a torque wrench, make good use of it. So we're gonna go ahead and get the hose clamp off of our old housing. We're gonna put it onto the new housing, and we'll connect up the hose. The old housing. Let's go ahead and put this on the tripod so you can watch me just button everything back up, and we'll top off the coolant. We didn't lose too much, so that's a good thing. All right, everything's good. We went ahead and took off this hose clamp. Let's clean up our tools. My back is out, so I'm moving a little slower than I should be. But nonetheless, we're gonna make it through. It'll be just fine. All right, cold air intake time. This is actually an OEM cold air intake, which is pretty neat. Let's see here. Get our connections down, connect them in. Go. And if you heard this thing run, you would hear a pretty beefy growl. Bolt that holds it in the air box is a 13, should say the nut. Let's go ahead and get that tightened up. Doesn't need to be over tightened. There we go, we're in all the way. Got an 8 for these two hose clamps. Again, make sure they're snug. They do not have to be over tight. It's not going to go anywhere. Let's take off our back clamps. There's one. And two. Okay, so we got all the clamps off. Housing is on, housing is secured. Thermostat's in, air valve's up. Hose clamp is secure and it's accessible this time. Mass airflow sensor is connected. Cold air intake is secured both in the air box and in the intake. And now we are going to fill up our coolant reservoir. Let's get our engine cover on. Last check to make sure all the tools are out, everything's good. Now we go on. Oil cap is in. Make sure this other side is secure. Kind of push it down hard. There we go. All right, we're good. Alright, we're on full. Now we're getting down toward the add lines. We're going to let it run for a few minutes here. Starting to bubble here. I'm just going to cap this off. Just so we don't have an overfill here. There we go, it's tight. Gaskets, and in that case you do use a gasket with the housing, so just make sure you're not doubling up. Have a good night, everyone.